Guru, we hear from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadhu Sangha, Savasha Sekhoi, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Savasiddhi. Sometimes even a momentary association, a fraction of a moment, can be so invaluable. One can achieve so much perfection in spiritual life. Even though in the early years, I have not had much association with Guru Maharaj, but I think back in 1979, I somehow was able to grab that mercy. I was in Vrindavan in 1979. At that time, we had the Mayapur festival first, and then we went to Vrindavan. And it was the last evening we were in Vrindavan. We were going to leave, but I had a very, very high fever. I was very sick. And Guru Maharaj was giving class that night, Bhagavad Gita. So I was attending Bhagavad Gita class. And throughout the whole class, I was fanning him. I was barely able to stand up because I had such a high fever. But still, I said I wanted to do this service. I was fanning him the whole night. And Guru Maharaj also had a cold that day. So he had some kind of a sore throat, he had a bit of a cold. And he asked for ginger. So someone brought some cut ginger for him. And during the class, he was just chewing on the ginger. And he wanted to spit out the ginger. There was nothing. So I grabbed some tissue and collected the ginger on the tissue. So throughout the class, he was just chewing ginger and spitting out the ginger, chewing more and spitting out. And he gave the whole class. At the end of the class, after he left, I had this ginger on the tissue. I said, this is Mahaprasad. And I just took everything. I just ate everything. So I think that has something to do with grabbing the mercy of Guru Maharaj at that early stage, that somehow I feel there was this connection there. And in the first couple of decades, I didn't do much service other than his visiting. Then after I went to Malaysia, then Guru Maharaj was coming regularly, and that relationship developed more. But all this time, Guru Maharaj was always very, very merciful to me and my family, and always like reaching out to us. And back in 1998, I was initially initiated by Ciranjiva Prabhu. So we know he left. And because of that, Guru Maharaj also paid very special attention to our needs. One time in Kuala Lumpur, I was with him, and he told me, he said, you can reach out to me, or you can call me or write to me anytime. You do not have to go through anyone. But I complained, I said, but it's very difficult to talk to you. You're always surrounded by so many disciples. It's not possible to talk to you in private. So he immediately grabbed my arm and pulled me to a corner of the room. And sure enough, the disciples were following him. And he turned around and said, stop. He said, stop there. And he took me to a corner. He said, okay, now I'm alone. You can speak. So in this way, it was always very kind. And all this kindness I always relate back to that time in Vrindavan when I took the Mahaprasad, which established that connection. It's so powerful that just one activity or one action. So, but all these years, I can feel Guru Maharaj like trying to bring me in, giving me shelter. But I was always somehow keeping some form of distance, because I didn't know how to relate to him. Because for me, Guru means service. And after Kuala Lumpur, I didn't really have any service for him. I was not doing any service for him. So I didn't know how to relate to him. Right? Because my understanding is always service. the mood of service to the spiritual master. So about 2 years ago, he was very kind. He invited me and engaged me in assisting him in the service in Malaysia. So for that time, I thought, okay, now I have a service. I have service that he has given to me, and this is my link to him. But throughout this time, I've always been observing, watching him, observing him, because when we talk about service, we also have to understand the mood of the person that we are serving. We don't try to just decide what the other person wants. We have to first understand. It's just like Krishna. If you want to serve Krishna, we learn from the pure devotee what Krishna likes and what Krishna don't like, and we serve him accordingly. The spiritual master is also a person. You want to serve him according to his mood. Recently, we have just celebrated Vyasa Puja, and remembering Prabhupada, again, my relationship with Prabhupada has always been, the impression I had from him right from the very beginning was the mood of service he has for his guru. Basically, Prabhupada received mainly just 1 or 2 instructions from his guru, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. The first time he met him, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj told him that you are an educated young man, you should spread this Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking world. And 2 weeks before he left the planet, he wrote a letter to Prabhupada and again repeating the same instruction. So Prabhupada's whole life was centered around fulfilling this instruction of his Guru Maharaj. And of course, Prabhupada did a lot more than just English-speaking world. He brought it beyond the English-speaking world. But how he prepared himself in Vrindavan and then going on a boat at 70 years old, suffering 2 heart attacks, arriving in America, didn't know what to do. That's why he wrote this prayer, that how am I going to make these people understand your message? They're habituated to sinful life. So please make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. And he struggled alone for the whole year. Every now and then he would go to the steamship company, check on the schedule. When is the next boat going back to India? He thought he was going to give up. But every time he checked, he would tell himself, let me just try a little bit more to fulfill the order of my Guru. So that was Prabhupada's mood, just serving his Guru Maharaj. And we see that also in our Guru Maharaj mood. He was always thinking of just how to serve Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada have given him so many instructions, and Guru Maharaj is performing so many different services, for the pleasure of his Guru Maharaj. And we see in the JPS app, there's a list of service that we can connect ourselves. Here we want to really connect ourselves, have that. Sometimes we look at devotees, he is so fortunate, he is so close to Guru Maharaj, or he is doing this service for Guru Maharaj. Actually, that service, that relationship is available to every disciple. The connection is already made at the time of initiation. So the more we take on the service that is very dear to Guru Maharaj and to assist him in his service to his Guru Maharaj, then we have a very close relationship with him. He's almost becoming like his personal servant or personal assistant. And that relationship with the spiritual master is beyond time and space. Doesn't matter where we are situated, as long as you're doing this service. So as disciples, we try to emulate and try to capture that mood of the spiritual master, the way he's serving his guru, and become relevant. Prabhupada said there are different kinds of servants. You have the first class servant, second class, third class servant. Said first class servant, the third class servant, gurus say, give instruction. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Whimsically. If it's convenient, they follow. If it's not convenient, they don't follow. That's third class. The second class servant, Prabhu said, they are very good in following instruction. But then Prabhu said the first class servant is one who was served before the Guru asked. Now, when we were young, we were always trying to speculate what the Guru wants, but that's not the point. First, we have to learn to become good second class servant, to serve according to the instruction of the spiritual master. And by that, we learn what the spiritual master wants, how he wants done, and we understand his mood. So from there, we can start using our initiative, intelligence to think ahead before he asks and do the things that we know that he wants done. Not that he has to tell us walk one step, we take one step. Every step we have to be told what to do. So in this way, when we become more and more better servants and serving according to the mood of Guru Maharaj, we are able to take some of the load off his shoulder. He is carrying such a huge load on his shoulder. And every time I see him, I feel pain, that the pain he goes through every day, the tolerance, how much tolerance he has on the inconvenience and the pain, and the determination he has. When we see him on the Zoom class, we see the better part of him that he's putting up, for his disciple. But behind the scene, what he has to go through, we don't know, we don't see, unless we hear it from those personal servants, what he has to go through every day. But yet, because of his love for his spiritual master, for Prabhupada, he just keeps soldiering on every day. And it's amazing the amount of, during the time of the pandemic, I think he's doing more classes than he was ever doing for a long time. Almost every day, at least practically 2 classes he's doing. Every night he's doing a Chaitanya Charitamrita classes. And not only that, he entered the home of so many devotees after the class. Just see the personal touch, how he's interacting. And when I attended this class, I was just observing, and I just get overwhelmed by his, he has such a big heart. He is so full of compassion, so full of love. One time, Guru Maharaj was talking about the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And he said, you have no idea. You have no idea the limit of Lord Nityananda's mercy. And we can say the same thing of Guru Maharaj. You have no idea to the limit of his mercy. And I have an opportunity of seeing firsthand how deep is his mercy for the devotees, for his disciple. Many years ago, he asked me, there was a disciple who was having some difficulty, and he asked me to see if I can help that person. And I tried, and so I managed to bring the devotee in front of Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj was talking to him so lovingly, so nicely, and trying to find out, work with that devotee, how he can continue with his service. And recently, we also, in our management, we also talking about another devotee who have left the main temple, but still doing his own preaching and all that. And he was willing to bend back so much to even accept the devotee and give him the devotee some form of room to stand. That was even outside of the normal management structure. And he just would not let go. As long as he said there's still a little chance, he would not let go of the devotee. So Guru Maharaj would never let go of us If we ever live, it is we who let go. As long as we hang on, Guru Maharaj will never desert us. They will always be there for us. This is a deep, this is how deep his love and compassion he has. So this is a mood. This is the mood of Guru Maharaj in his service. And as disciple, this is a mood we want to cultivate. Just as Guru Maharaj is always very merciful to all the devotees, he's very tolerant. So in our daily dealings with other devotees, you also have tried to emulate that mood. I remember before, even in a different capacity, when I was a temple president, I deal with so many devotees, and sometimes some devotees are more surrendered than others. Some I have difficulty, and being immature, sometimes I'll just be impatient with them. But immediately I check myself, and I ask myself, who do I think I am, that I can pass judgment on this devotee, or I can be impatient with this devotee just because he makes a mistake? And I reflected on how my guru dealt with me. I'm making so many mistakes. I'm imperfect. I'm so much impurity. And still he has so much love for me. Still he is dealing with me so lovingly and with so much patience. So why should I not do the same thing in my dealings with other devotees? We all know, anyone who has any interaction with Guru Maharaj, we all have that experience, that he's very kind, very loving in his dealing with us. But when we look at ourselves, we have so many imperfections, and still Guru Maharaj is still dealing with us so kindly. So why can't we extend that kindness, Guru Maharaj's kindness? And being a disciple, we are also representative of the spiritual master. So then we should extend the kindness, the love, the compassion of Guru Maharaj to others. This is how everyone can feel the mercy of Guru Maharaj. And that mercy sometimes is costless. I want to share one lila that I had. Until today, I still don't understand how it happened. I think it was in the late 1980s or maybe early 1990s. I was in Mayapur for Gopurnima festival. And on Gopurnima evening, when they were conducting the Abhishek, in Mayapur, it's a bit elevated. And I was down there watching the Abhishek, but somehow, I don't know how, I just got this idea in my head that I want to be up there to do Abhishek. So I thought, I gathered up the courage and went up the steps. I was an unknown. I just went up the steps and stayed in line like everyone else and acted like I belonged there. And nobody said anything. So I was going online, going forward. And as I was getting closer, they had this Gonitai deities from the Padayatra also on the stage. Someone passed me the chamara. I think it could even be either Ciranjiva Prabhu or Ciranjiva Prabhu. He passed me the chamara. So there I was taken out of the line and I was fanning. I was fanning for quite some time until I found someone and handed the chamara back to someone, and I got back on the line. But every time as I get closer to the line, a sannyasi would come and cut into my line, cut into me. And he cut into me. So then finally, I was all the way front and I was the next person in line. I thought, okay, this is my turn now. And the one in front of me, after he had done the Abhishek, one of the two brothers, I couldn't recognize which one, he said, okay, no more. And I said, oh no, it's my turn. And he said, no more. And then Prabhupada turned to me and said, one more. And he put me to the front. And I got to do Abhishek. So that was Guru Maharaj. I don't know why or how, how he even know me at that time. And he just said, just one more. And I got the mercy to do Abhishek and Kopani Mahaprabhu. So that was a very special for me. And all these incidents always relate back to the time in Vrindavan where I got this Mahaprasad. So this is although Guru Maharaj is doing so much service, he's such a giant in Iskcon, but at the same time, his heart is so tender. His heart is so full of love for everyone, and he never stopped to just talk and give a word of encouragement. And his memory is incredible. Sometimes I've not seen him for a few years, and then he will continue a conversation I had with him from that time. And he remember what we spoke about and say, oh, how about this one you were talking about, and what are you doing with it? So nothing get by him. And he remember, and he always tried to engage. One time when he came to Melbourne, and he was talking to me and asking, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing a course in life coaching. He said, what is that? I said, basically just counseling service. And I said, oh, maybe you can come to Mayapur and do some counseling for the youth. So immediately you try to connect you to some service. Very quick. I remember one time, Harikesh Prabhu, he told me that, he said, Jayapataka Swami, he has such a brilliant brain, and he's such a visionary, and he thinks way ahead of everyone in the GBC. And the problem is that nobody can understand what he's trying to say because he's so ahead. And he said that's why we work together, because I could understand him and I could put those ideas into practical terms so that all the other GBC can understand. And then now recently one of the GBC told me, he said, yes, after Harikesh left, he felt like missing a sidekick, because now there's nobody in the GBC who understand him like Harikesh did. So every time sometimes I come up with this idea, or GBC like scratching their head, like what is he talking about? So Guru Maharaj is and we know also in our management meeting with him, sometimes he just like we can say something and then the next thing he just boom, and he come up with some like throw a curveball to the discussion. And the most astounding thing was 2 years ago when I was newly appointed, and we were trying to restructure Iskcon Malaysia. Sometimes the devotee talk about how Guru Maharaj is manipulated by certain devotees and all that. Is so far from the truth. We presented and he agreed to what we're saying. You ask questions, he gives some certain ideas and he said, no, we should be like this, like this. Then the next time we meet him, he come up with a third alternative. And sometimes he come up with an alternative that's completely different than what we proposed. And we had to go along with it. So Guru Maharaj, he is a very, very good leader, good manager. He listened, he gathered information, and then he come to his own conclusion. And he present. But his mood was always a very inclusive mood. He doesn't come in and just tell people just what to do, but he's very good listener. He listened and he tried to understand. And then he gave a solution that everyone is very happy with. So he's very inclusive, and that's a very, very good leader. Because like they say, if an idea comes from you, you take ownership of it. But if it's coming from above, sometimes we don't take ownership of those instructions. So by observing Guru Maharaj up front, I'm beginning to learn and understand his mood and try to adapt myself. And there's a lot of adjustment I have to make because previously working with Harikish Prabhu is completely different. The mood is completely different than Guru Maharaj's mood. So it's a lot of adjustment and adapting to Guru Maharaj's mood. And although some of us, many of us may not have that kind of personal association, we're not managers or anything, but in his classes, we can also capture those moods. What I've noticed in the Bhagavatam classes given on Saturday, over many classes, he was harping on a few things. He was talking about Grihastha. He was talking about Prabhupada's books, reading Prabhupada's book. Now, even in his Vyasa Puja offering this year, he was talking about reading Prabhupada's book. And he was a bit, and you can say that he was a bit, should I say, disappointed that many of his disciples are not reading Prabhupada's books regularly. And he was telling in the class, he asked many of his servants, how many have read? He said one has read a few times, Bhagavatam, and then some are reading 8 canto, and many of them have not read all of Prabhupada's books. And he lamented that many of his disciples are just doing just enough just to get initiated. They're doing only just 3rd canto maybe, so that they can get to Brahmi initiation, and then they stop reading. But he wants everyone to study, and he wants everyone to become an acharya. So if I could become guru. Now, guru does not necessarily mean you have to be initiating guru, and some can take that out. But at least we are instructing guru, be a preacher. How can we be a preacher if we don't know the philosophy? If we don't read Prabhupada's books, our preaching will just be speculation, or based on our personal and material experiences. So we have to read and understand Prabhupada's book, and that's what Guru Maharaj is pushing. That is another one of his mood that he wants his disciples to do. So we understand that this is Guru Maharaj is pushing that a lot, so we take that seriously. And even Prabhupada, he lamented when he got the 5th canto, the first part of 5th canto. I think he was in Hawaii or Africa somewhere. Anyway, when he received the book, he started reading and completely absorbed in his own book. And he was saying, they are not reading my book. They are not reading my book. And Prabhupada made the famous statement, they think I wrote these books only for distribution. But no, I wrote this book for them, meaning his disciples. It's not just for distribution. I wrote this book for them. So we have to read Prabhupada's book. Otherwise, how are we going to understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness? Especially nowadays, there's so many books available out there. Especially in India, when you go to the bookstore, so many different books. And I sometimes see devotees reading so many books. But when I ask them, have you read all of Prabhupada's books? They say no. So the first thing we need to read is Prabhupada's books. When we were young devotees, we were given the instruction. You read Prabhupada's book. If you want to read any other book, fine. After you have read all of Prabhupada's book at least 3 times, then you can read other books. And that's what we did. Every day we would read. Now I'm back in Copenhagen, where I used to be served for many years. And I see the mood is still there. And the devotees, every day they're studying Prabhupada's books. So that is so important. And that is one of the words of Guru Maharaj, that anyone can follow. In whatever position we are in, whatever capacity we're in, we can follow the instruction. And that's serving Guru Maharaj according to his word. He wants us to read Prabhupada's book and study Prabhupada's book. and become well-versed in the philosophy. Because two things, when we are well-versed in the philosophy, we also, our intelligence is purified, our understanding of Krishna consciousness take deep roots, and we become strong in Krishna consciousness. And I've seen, unfortunately, so many devotees, maybe they've been around for 10 years, 15, 20, even 20, 30 years, but they don't even know the basic fundamentals of Krishna consciousness. They don't understand our basic philosophy. Our basic philosophy is humility. Symptom of a senior devotee or advanced devotee is humility. Because the more we understand Krishna, the more we understand how great Krishna is, we realize how small we are. And that's why you look at all these very senior devotees, they all have this quality of humility. And in the Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, Krishna said, what are the symptoms of someone who's in knowledge? Humility and pridelessness. These are the two first qualities that was mentioned. Humility, pridelessness. So it's the symptom of knowledge. So the more we know about Krishna, the more we understand Krishna, the more we become humble, and the more we act as humble servant. And when then we realize I'm more and more that we are spiritual. Otherwise, we get so much disturbed just because someone says something, someone say this, someone say that, someone do this, someone so do that. Anyway, what has that got to do with our own Krishna consciousness? People can say what they want, they can do what they want. Our connection to Krishna is through our spiritual master. So as long as we are serving Guru to the best of our ability, and Guru is pleased with our service, that is our satisfaction. But that service does not mean that we neglect everyone else or that we can act improperly, because that's not real service. If we really want to serve the Guru, we also want to serve the Vaishnava. Because would Guru Maharaj be pleased if we just do service for him and then we neglect other devotees or we act improperly to other devotees? There's this one been passed around in recent months or maybe year, whereby one Prabhupada disciple was asking Guru Maharaj, he said, if you had a little extra time, what would you instruct your disciple? So, and when Guru Maharaj, the answer Guru Maharaj gave, he was surprised by the answer. Because he thought Guru Maharaj said, oh, I'm going to tell them more of the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, or some more detailed information of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all that. He said, no. He said, if I have more time, I will tell my disciples that they should show respect to their parents, to the elders, to the other devotees and God brothers and God sisters. And this, all these things he was listing seemed to be mundane qualities. And that's what Prabhupada says, but these are not like really Krishna consciousness. And Guru Maharaj said that's the problem with our devotees. Our devotees are thinking that we are so advanced that they don't even behave like proper humans. And Prabhupada said, first, learn to be a human. Then we talk about being devotee. Because Prabhupada said, a devotee is a perfect gentleman. So we also have to learn this quality, how to behave, how to act, how to deal with one another with proper respect. So these are all part of our achar and prachar. And in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described that someone may be very good in talking about Krishna, but his behavior is not good. Someone may behave good, but they don't talk, they don't preach. But with Chaitanya Prabhu, he's both achar and prachar. He speaks very nicely and he behaves very nicely. That is Vaishnava etiquette. That's proper etiquette. And Chaitanya Prabhu said this Vaishnava etiquette is a crown jewel of a Vaishnava. So, and Guru Maharaj is that you can see that in his behavior. There's so many things we can learn just by observing how the life of Guru Maharaj, how he act, how he interact with devotees, how he interact with his god brothers, and how he, when he speak, what he's talking about, you can see certain things that he repeat many times. And then you know this is something that is very dear to his heart. This is something that he's thinking about. So if we open our ears and listen carefully, open our eyes and listen carefully, open our heart and let it sink in, then we'll understand the mood of Guru Maharaj. It's not a secret. It's an open book. So like that. So gradually we observe and we understand, and then we dovetail our life in such a way that we can fulfill our service according to that mood that we are attracted to. Guru Maharaj is so many things. So some of us may be attracted to certain quality, some other quality, that's fine. So we adapt accordingly and mold our life accordingly. And that's the perfection of our life. And how do we know if the Guru is pleased with us? There are two ways. When we are pleasing the Guru, we feel satisfaction in our heart. But if there's sometimes we're feeling there's something lacking in our heart, lacking in our Krishna consciousness, maybe there's something we're doing not right. Or maybe we have committed some offenses. Or maybe we are not serving the Guru accordingly, in a way that's pleasing to him. That's one way. And another way is you can always ask him. He's a person. You can ask, instead of so many unnecessary problems that we bring to him. And as a regional secretary from Malaysia, sometimes I feel like a failure when devotees write to him and complain about little things that can be managed locally. It could be dealt with amongst ourselves, but he has to bypass everyone and then go straight to Guru Maharaj. He has so many responsibilities. And why are we burdening him with this minor, small things that can be dealt with locally? That brings back to a point that if we learn to cooperate with one another very nicely, then we never have to bother him with all this management thing. Especially the devotees and the leaders, the managers, if we work cooperatively together, solve all the problems and make sure that all the devotees are taken care of, they're cared for, they're properly engaged and properly inspired in the devotional service, then we never have to bother. Imagine if Guru Maharaj comes and visit and then all we talk to him about this problem, that problem, so many problems. For me, it's very painful to see. It's such a waste of his valuable time. He should be, when he comes to meet us or you have a meeting with us or you come to visit the temple, he should just preach and enthuse the devotee and bring us to a higher level, not deal with all this nitty-gritty stuff. And that's where disciples learning to cooperate with one another is so important. Very, very important. We should see Guru Maharaj is like the father of the family. And this family business is preaching Krishna consciousness. The spearhead of the business is book distribution. And he has embraced this mission from his father. It's like a family business we pass down. And as we growing up in Krishna consciousness, becoming senior means that we take on some of the responsibility in the business. Guru Maharaj carrying this heavy burden on his shoulder. So many activities, so many services to perform. So we just go, Guru Maharaj, let me take a small load on my shoulder. and let me carry this load so you can be a bit relieved. So if each disciple thinks like that I'll carry just a little load, then he can be so relieved from the big load. Everyone doing their own bit, not adding to it, but relieving him from some of the load. So that's the mood we need to cultivate and develop as servant. That's what servant means. And that's what disciple means. To execute our service with discipline. So I hope I have not offended anyone with some of the direct statement. But those who know me will know that I'm a shoot from the hip. But I don't mean anything bad or in arrogant or anything. I'm just speaking about how I feel. This is my own personal, how I feel is devotional service, and what I feel is service. That's how we should serve the spiritual master. The mood is very important. Not that we create something and then offer. It's like Prabhupada gave the example, the Guru asked for water and said, oh, I think milk is better. And we give him milk. If we ask for water, you give water. And another famous example, if his Guru say rope, he say rope, yes, it's a rope, Guru Maharaj. He said, no, fool, it's a snake. Yes, it's a snake. No, it's a rope. Yes, it's a rope. Sometimes from a material point of view, this is weird. This is brainwashing. But what it is that it trains us to be submissive, because the reason why we're in this material world is because we are thinking independently of Krishna. We're acting and thinking independent of Krishna. So we need to learn to be submissive. And that's what Bhagavad Gita is saying as the quality of approaching a Guru Master, approaching a spiritual master, submissively, inquiring submissively, and rendering service. So without submissiveness, how can the Guru train us properly? So I think I'll end here for some question. Vrinda Maharani told me that the Indian devotees always have a lot of questions. So I hope to answer a few.
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhu. And I think it was really important, the point that you said, how, we should all try to take a little bit of that load. Each of us try to take a little bit of that load from Guru Maharaj and carry it instead of adding to it. Very, very salient. Yes, we will move on to the questions. We have a few already in the chat. And before that, I would also like to, I see that we have some senior God brothers and God sisters in presence here. We have Mother Chudamani from the UK. We have Kalisha Prabhu from Malaysia. And we also have Sudhir Chaitanya Prabhu from Bangalore, Karnataka. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hare Krishna. All this exalted Vaishnava, I hope I have not overstepped my boundaries.
Jai Prabhuji, please accept my dandavats, pranam. I'm Sudhir Chaitanya Das.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Very nice of stressing the point that to observe Guru Maharaj, his mood, his service, the way he thinks, the way he talks, observes. We had this good fortune in one sense that when he used to come to Bangalore and stay 2 weeks, and we had the good fortune to be with him. So you are stressing now again the point of observing him more about how he thinks and responds. This is very important for recollection for me. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. So we have a question from Mathura Lileshwari. Hare Krishna Prabhu, you mentioned that you had to adjust to serve in accordance to Guru Maharaj's mood because you were trying to shift from Harikesh Prabhu's mood to Guru Maharaj's. What steps can disciples take to situate ourselves in the mood of Guru Maharaj? Thank you.
Right, that's what the whole class was about, isn't it? All the way from America. Yeah, that's because we were trained and used to act in a certain way. But Guru Maharaj mood was very, very different. So because I'm habituated to do things in a certain way, so I have to pay more attention to how he do things, and I can adjust my service according to how he do and how he manage things. You know, but I'm coming from a bit from the old school, old days training. We going with a hammer. Right? If something out of line, we're just going with a hammer. And that's an old school that we all experienced that from the old days. But Guru Maharaj is always trying to accommodate. He's always trying to accommodate. And you always give space. And sometimes that put the managers in a bit of a dilemma. You know, and because it is stretching them beyond their limit and capabilities. But that's a way how also Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj is expanding our service ability. Otherwise, we just always stay within the same framework. So sometimes Guru Maharaj, he by his action, and he just stretches us. And when we try to accommodate what Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj tried to achieve, and trying to accommodate this devotee, we have to stretch ourselves beyond our normal way of doing things, and that's how we grow and get a little bit closer to how Guru Maharaj do things. There's a lot. As growing up in Krishna consciousness, there's a lot of stretching. And when you stretch, it's uncomfortable. So we have to learn to be comfortable, to be uncomfortable.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for telling us that we should indeed move out of our comfort zones.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Okay, if devotees have questions, you can unmute and ask, or you can type it in the chat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my sincere, respectable obeisances on your lotus feet.
Please accept mine. Hare Krishna.
This is Anand Vihari Krishnadas Prabhuji. No question, but we are very new devotee and new disciple of Guru Maharaj. But many things, learnings in a very simple way, you put it, that what we need to do it, we really need to understand the mood of Guru Maharaj, and we need to help in the service of Guru Maharaj, what he has committed to Srila Prabhupada ji, his own Guru Maharaj. So that was a big takeaway, that yes, how, because in this COVID situation, we are not able to meet Guru Maharaj. But yes, through Vani Seva only we can learn and give some services. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji, for guiding us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare
We
Krishna.
heard
Hare Krishna.
experiences with Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you much.
Krishna.
Yeah, sorry.
If I can ask one question. Sure.
Yes, please.
Yes, Himanga Prabhu.
Many times Guru Maharaj quotes we read, like especially from some lectures, and even personally when we see his mood is that disciples take more and more responsibility. He's very pleased when they take responsibilities on the behalf of on his behalf and on Srila Prabhupada's behalf. It's like helping his shoulder. So, but it depends on each devotee's capability, right? Like, because many times I'm not able to draw a line because there are so many services which we can accept, but uh, because we have individual capacity. So in beginning days, should we stretch, and later we may not be able to, we may not be finding that much nourishment, or should we be restricting ourselves and taking responsibilities, knowing that over a period of time in long run, I should sustain nicely? And so what exactly will Guru Maharaj suggest, suppose if I ask him this question?
Vrinda, is it strictly at that time cut-off time?
No,
Sorry,
Prabhu.
Okay. This is quite a big question. You see, the spiritual master is expert in engaging the disciples. Here's another very important point that we really need to take on board and consider. That because the spiritual master is very expert in engaging this disciple, sometimes the spiritual master may want to give a certain instruction to that disciple, but if he knows that that disciple is not very surrendered, he may hold back from giving that instruction. I've seen it happen during the time of Ciranjiva Prabhu. I was driving with him, and there was one leading disciple. He decided to leave the temple to open a preaching center and a restaurant, and he was advised not to do it. Strongly advised not to do it, but he didn't listen to the guru and went out and did it. And gradually, he just fell away from the association of devotees, and he left the movement and stopped his sadhana. So a few years later, he wrote a letter to Ciranjiva Prabhu, to his guru, and he said, yeah, I'm started to chant 2-3 rounds every day now, you know. And Ciranjiva Prabhu, he wrote the letter, heavy letter. He said, I told you and you didn't listen to me about that. You're not very heavy. And he said, did I send the letter? No. It ended up in the bin. And he wrote another letter. It's very nice. I'm so happy to hear from you and that you are chanting again. So please continue to chant and as much as possible try to associate with the devotees. So again, and you see that also in Guru Maharaj, that's how we deal. But sometimes if you have a little bit of insight, you know Guru Maharaj just instructing the disciple according to the level he can accept. So to get the mercy of Guru Maharaj, we every time we see Guru Maharaj, they ask what can I do for you? Please give me your mercy, please give me your mercy. But did we consider what is the size of our receptacle? Guru Maharaj is willing to give mercy, but how big is our receptacle? Do we have just a tiny little cup? Or we have a big bowl? Or a big tank? How much mercy do we want? And how much mercy can we receive? So that means we need to prepare ourselves to expand our capacity to receive the mercy. It's the same thing related to the earlier example. Yes, we want to give mercy, but we are not in a position to accept. So regarding our ability to serve and stretching, my personal experience is that when the spiritual master gives you an instruction, if you are surrendered and you just do your very best to serve, then somehow Krishna gives you the ability. I personal experience of being told to given services, I have no idea. Like when I was asked to manage a BBT, I have no idea what BBT means. I thought BBT means someone translate the book, type it out, make some correction, send it to the printer. Later that I know that there was such a long, detailed process involved in book production. Yet Just by simply doing it, Krishna gave the intelligence, and somehow during the 1.5 years I was managing, with 20 books were produced during that time, in so many different languages. So it's not our ability, we are just instrument. But we have to become willing instrument in the hand of the spiritual master, so they can wield us this way, that way. Imagine a Kshatriya holding a sword, trying to fight, and then the sword have a mind of its own. The Kshatriya want to hit this way, the sword said, no, I want to go this way. Right? So the sword in the hand is completely surrendered to the hand of the warrior. They're just instruments. So our capacity, how do we know what is our capacity? We are spirit soul, we are eternal son of Krishna. Is there a limit to our capacity? No. Some of us have this experience that some of the things we are doing, we cannot imagine that how we could have done these things. I've seen even like in myself, so different services, I just cannot imagine how I never have those ability to do those things. And one of the most amazing things that I've experienced, like when I was preaching in Copenhagen, there used to be a professor of Vaishnava studies in the University of Copenhagen. He comes here and asks me a question on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu philosophy. And I was thinking, this guy is a professor, highly qualified. I only finished high school. I never gone beyond high school. And this professor is coming and asking me philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He specialized in it. And that's the power of reading Prabhupada's book. Just by reading Prabhupada, some people think that you're a great scholar. All we do is just repeating what Prabhupada has written. So who knows what our capacities are? Therefore, if we put ourselves in the hand of the spiritual master, Guru Maharaj can just expand and keep expanding our capabilities, and then the things that we can do in his service, it will be just astounding. It's amazing. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Nicely giving some examples.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. There's a very interesting question in the chat by Sri Guru Sevanandi Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, what is that mood in which you cook for Guru Maharaj on his Saturday home visits? You always say Guru Maharaj is very happy when he sees your preparation. Indeed, yeah, this is something that I missed in the intro. I'd actually planned to say it. But yeah, Prabhu, along with his good wife, Mother Chandravali, they prepare such exquisite items for Guru Maharaj according to his diet, that too. So yes, Prabhu, please enlighten us.
I don't take any credit for it. For that, my wife has all the credit because she's the one who's doing the cooking. I just eat on behalf of Guru Maharaj after the offering. Okay? I'm not trying to embarrass her or anything, but there's a very important lesson here in this regard. Right? When we initially, I was attending irregularly. I was not attending, I wasn't even aware of the classes. Then when Guru Maharaj was speaking to the disciple in Melbourne, and I was not present, and said, where is Ciranjiva? So after the class, immediately the devotee calling me, say, Guru Maharaj looking for you. You were not in the class. I said, I'm not even aware of it. He said, all right, you got to join this JSS Melbourne. I don't join all this group because there's so many messages being posted. And then I was attending irregularly. But every time I didn't attend the class, they would tell me, Guru Maharaj was asking for you. So I said, okay. I got to make sure I attend the class every Saturday. And then I noticed that the devotees were making offering. So I said, so my wife said, we also have to make an offering. But in the beginning, my wife was thinking, this is such a pressure that we have to make offering every Saturday, Then attending the class become like a pressure that we have to cook everything, something to offer. But I said, look at it another way. How often do we ever have an opportunity to cook for Guru Maharaj? No, we don't have an opportunity. Here's a great opportunity that we can cook something for Guru Maharaj and offer to him when you visit the home. Right? It's such an honor. And then just with that thinking, the mindset shift. And as she started cooking, she was thinking, we are making all this offering to Guru Maharaj, but he cannot eat it. He can only eat with his eyes. Therefore, the offering not only has to taste good, it has to be visually attractive because he's eating with his eyes. So the cooking, the preparation is visually very nice. So then she started making all this. And the idea is every week you'll Google and find out what to make and learning more and more what is Guru Maharaj's diet and then try to make healthy food. Each Saturday the offerings is the first time she make them. They never make them before. It's the first time. And it's a whole, and then it just expanded, become like a huge feast every Saturday. We have not been attending a class because we've been traveling at the time difference and we don't have facility for this kind of cooking. So that's how it turned. And that's the thing with when we talk about devotional service, it's two words, devotional service. It's not just service. It's service performed with devotion. What is the level of devotion? For example, in the class, you can offer a fruit. You can wash it, put it on the plate, and then a whole bunch of fruits. Very nice. But if you cut up the fruit, isn't that require more effort, more endeavor, more care, more love? It's a whole different level of devotion. But he will peel it. That's another level. Or you cut it out into bite-sized small pieces. And that's another level. Or you put it into a bowl, very nicely decorated. I mean, each effort brings it to a different level of devotion that we're offering. See? The qualitative difference in the offering. And that is something we can do when we do service. What is the quality we bring into that service? How much effort we are putting in, how much care, how much devotion and love we put into the service. And that's devotional service. And I think that is what Guru Maharaj attracted to, the devotion behind the effort that she put in, preparing everything nicely, decorating everything nicely. It's a very detailed. In fact, sometimes it takes her a whole week to make that offering. Maybe not physically doing some, but it's as soon as the Saturday class is over, she's already planning for the next Saturday what to make. So, and how she turned that one service into a whole week of service, a whole week of meditation. It's not just going to the kitchen, throw something together, put it on the plate, and like that. You see? So, and I think that is what caught Guru Maharaj's attention.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Trivikram Prabhu.
I am Trivikrama Krishnadas from Bangalore.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Pranam. So, one question. See, Guru Maharaj is suffering past from 12 years. So, even in Vrindavan, one hunchback woman came in front of Lord Krishna. So, just Krishna lifted her to the normal condition. So, in this condition, Guru Maharaj is so pure devotee. Why not Krishna help him so that he can come back to normal position? So, you see, whatever we did, Papa Karma or something like that, when we are chanting, so that Papa Karma will go away. And even then, the Guru Maharaj will, whatever the Papa Karma comes, he will offer to his Guru, up to the Krishna. But still he is suffering. Why?
We should not consider that what Guru Maharaj going through is karma. That is a wrong understanding. In fact, that is offensive to think that it's just normal karma. Now, why Guru Maharaj is going through all this? Why Krishna putting all that only between him and Krishna knows? I wouldn't dare to go and say why, because that is a special between him and Krishna. Now, from external observation, we can see how Krishna sometimes put his devotees in great difficulty. You can say the same thing about Arjuna. They're great devotees of Krishna. In fact, Arjuna is a friend of Krishna. Why would they put through and put into exile and go through all this suffering and the kingdom taken away from them? And Draupadi, why was Draupadi dragged to the assembly and been insulted that way and been disrobed? She's a great devotee. So sometimes Krishna uses devotees to glorify them, put them into a difficult situation. Like Guru Maharaj is in this condition, and yet not only did it not stop his preaching, and I think his preaching has increased. Since the stroke, he has initiated more disciples than before the stroke. So his influence has expanded, his preaching has expanded. It doesn't, and it's also show that is spirit beyond matter. That our devotional service is not restricted by a physical condition. You think the Goswamis Vrindavan, sometimes you talk about Goswami Vrindavan, they almost forget to eat, they don't sleep and all. But they were also, their physical condition were very fragile. They were very sickly. But that did not stop them from the level of the devotion, the meditation. So we should not see this as karma, manifestation of karma that Krishna can just remove the karma. This is actually very glorious. What Guru Maharaj is going through, that in spite of this physical condition and physical, he's still so active, and he has not slowed down in his preaching. Is that answer?
Okay, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
I
you
don't
very
know what
much.
happened to I lost the screen.
Yeah, I think your video went off somehow.
Is it?
Yeah.
How do I get it back? Oh, okay. It was back to meeting. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mother Chudamani, a senior God sister from the UK, writes, Hare Krishna, excellent focused realizations in developing our own mood of serving, taking care, and love for each other. We need to adopt quality that is pleasing to Guru Maharaj and assist those of us who are having difficulty in their spiritual journey. Thanks a lot for sharing your wisdom regarding disciples' duty, your servant Chudamani Devidasi. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, you brought up a very nice point, Mataji, that Guru Maharaj has so many disciples around the world. And one very important service we can do for Guru Maharaj is to take care of one another. Making sure that everyone is cared for, everyone feel that they are loved. If there any needs, give them the support that they need. And by doing that, that will be a great service. Just know that every single disciple is very, very dear to Guru Maharaj. Doesn't matter you're big devotee, small devotee. You can see the way he interact in the classes and when he do the Zoom. He's giving blessing to everyone. Doesn't matter it's a big devotee or small devotee. Right? So every single disciple is very, very dear to him. And that's how we should treat and deal with one another. And care and not just write anyone off so easily. And so by supporting one another and helping and encouraging, caring in a loving way, that is a very great service to Guru Maharaj. And that's certainly serving according to his mood.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
So
yeah.
I hope to be say something useful.
Indeed, Prabhu, we've gone quite a bit over time, but every word was nectar. And there are a host of comments in the chat. Sudevi Sunaina Mataji, thank you for a very insightful and touching class, Prabhu. Yeah. Okay, there is one last question. We'll just take one last question from Harshita Sharma Mataji. Prabhu, we don't want to burden Guru Maharaj, but we still need all his help. We are struggling so much. So if we don't take his help, if we are unable to be satisfied by others' answers, then what should we do? Should we not write to him, Prabhu?
Yes, nobody can stop you from writing your Guru Maharaj. The relationship between you and Guru Maharaj is personal. So every disciple has a link to the spiritual master. So my point is that if you have any issue or any question, try to resolve it locally, because there's so many, normally there are so many senior devotees around, unless you're living in some remote places. But nowadays, even that, you can even reach out on WhatsApp or Messenger or Zoom, to a senior devotee who can help you. And the thing is that what most of the problems that we go through has already gone through and experienced by someone else. Sometimes we like to think that my problem is unique. It's very rare that we have any unique problem. Any problem we have probably is there's nothing, like they say, there's nothing new under the sun. So there are many experienced, senior and experienced and learned God brothers, God sisters around the world that we can take shelter of. And I think Guru Maharaj also said some of my senior disciples, they are acting like Shiksha Guru for the disciples. So, of course, sometimes we just want to, so we can try to get all these things resolved first, but if we still not resolved, then we can always ask. Just make sure that our question, what is a good question? That is given by Shukadev Goswami in answer to Maharaj Parishit. That he said your question is glorious because answer to your question is not only beneficial for yourself, but it's also beneficial for the whole world. But I see sometimes in the classes the question, how can I this, how can I that? These are questions that are already answered many, many times. But so just remember that Guru is not our servant. That I want some attention, so that's why I'm asking these questions, so I get a little attention. It should be if we have a general question, then we ask a general question. Otherwise, if we are not doing service, then we just listen, observe, and listen. So we serve by listening, serve by hearing, and by hearing, we know how to serve. It's in the song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He said, that let me just be a dog at the door of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava Kukura. And I will not disturb you. But here, if anyone come and disturb you, I'll bark and I'll protect you. And I'll be happy just every now and then you throw me some crumbs. So that's in Song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And that's the mood of the servant. I'm here just to serve you, and I will not disturb you. And every now and then you just throw me some mercy and I'll be happy. So becoming a dog of the Vaishnava. In Scandinavia, I became famous because I named my Sankirtan party the Vishnupad Dog Sankirtan Party. The Harikesh was known as Vishnupad in those days. So I call my Sankirtan party Vishnupad Dogs.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay.
Very important duties of the Muslim and mercy of Guru Maharaj so much help and care and love wisdom. So thank you, please.
Hare Krishna. Shanti Mataji, your voice is breaking.
Hare Krishna.
It's still breaking, Mataji. We are not able to hear you clearly. Okay, we cannot hear you, Mataji.
Yeah. Okay. Can we? I'll end here with just one last statement. Yes, otherwise dragging on. Don't start with me, because if you don't aim me, I can go on talking for another hour, 2 hours. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple-minded and complicated for the complicated-minded. So sometimes we have so many ideas of how we want to do this, do that, so many things. But if we arrange our life in a way that just absorb and adopt the mood of our spiritual master and serve him according to that mood, our whole life becomes very simplified. And all the speculation just flow out the window. But it is not something that can be achieved overnight. It is something that we have to have discipline. But otherwise, what's the meaning of disciple without discipline? So we need to, with discipline, apply. What does always meditate? What does my Guru Maharaj want me to do? It's not what I want to do. It doesn't matter what I want to do. What does my Guru Maharaj wants me to do? What does he expect of me? And how does he want me to behave? And that's what we do. And so our life becomes very simple. No complication. So I leave you with that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. We cannot thank you enough for your wonderful association today. Very, very nice insights on the mood of service to Guru. So thank you very much. All devotees also for joining us today. And don't forget to join us this weekend. We have the JSSS Worldwide Retreat event. And I'm sure all of you would have received the links by now.
Oh.
If not, we will be sharing it. And I believe you're on the panel, Prabhu, this weekend.
You reminded me. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to check out the time with your mother, so we don't conflict with my class in China.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask her to contact you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ciranjiva Prabhu.
Thank you very much for arranging this, Vrindamarana Matiji, and giving me the opportunity to address a devotee and speak about Guru Maharaj. It's always inspiring for me, purifying for me.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji,
Kalesh,
Dandat
Hari
Pranam,
Bol,
Prabhuji.
Kalesha Prabhu,
Hare Bol,
Hare Bol.
Hare
Dhanavad,
Krishna, हम सबको
Dhanavad.
दर्शन से Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Pancha Kalpadurubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyavacha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha. Ciranjiv ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna, all devotees. We will end here now. Srila Gurudev.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Dandavat pranam to all.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.